Out of the many sins of the former governor of Lagos State, Babatunde Fashola, also known as BRF, his worst and perhaps unforgivable is daring to have his own mind and desire to have a say in who becomes the next governor of the state after him. The then governor was reported to prefer first his Commissioner for Works, Dr. Femi Hamzat, then later former Attorney General of the state, Shukbo Shashore. But the man who, as a matter of fact, picked him in similar manner to be governor after him, Bola Tinubu, had a different plan which was public knowledge at that time. It is not much of a surprise for keen watchers that Akinwumi Ambode, since becoming governor on May 29, has been bringing down anything that points to the BRF era in positive light. Insider sources told Homeland News that BRF will be made to pay for ever thinking of challenging Tinubu in Lagos State. It was gathered that BRF's brand of politics eliminated many sources of patronizing and rehabilitating political hangers-on in the state, which made it easy for his more generous predecessor to keep his loyalty base intact. Without sounding as if one is making excuses for someone whose reign underperformed in the second term by his own standards set in the first term, one is persuaded to step a little backwards and ask, what exactly is the matter here? From the sack of permanent secretaries to the sack of any government official perceived to have regards for the former governor, the current government in the state is not hiding its dislike for the former governor. One of the most interesting steps by the current administration to rubbish Fashola is the planned payment of resident doctors who the state government refused to pay their salaries for the months they were on strike, almost paralyzing the health sector during BRF's regime. Homeland News gathered that the process is near completed for the payment before the end of August. Just last week, a group that calls itself Coalition Against Corrupt Leaders, led by Debo Adeniro, addressed the media where it urged President Muhammadu Buhari to ignore the former governor in the list of those he may be considering for ministerial appointments. The group alleged that Fashola's reign was ridden with corruption. I quote the statement here: "It is gratifying that you have promised at various fora that your appointments will be purely based on merit and that tested technocrats with impeccable records will be given the rightful places in your administration as a way of ensuring good governance to the Nigerian people. It is against this background that our organization is appealing to you to please take the pains to dig into Mr. Babatunde Fashola's record of performance as well as that of financial propriety on the part of his government while in office." End of quote. But one may be tempted to ask where Mr. Adeniro and his group were when Adeyemi Ikuforiji pocketed the speakership of the Lagos State House of Assembly, even when he was being prosecuted by the EFCC for corruption. Mr. Adeniro and others like him went mute. Is it possible that the new voice found by the so-called anti-corruption campaigner is induced by the benefits that follow his political alignment in the state? The trending story of how BRF spent 78 million naira on website upgrade will be very difficult for those who sympathize with him to defend, as the amount is highly and unimaginably jacked up. Such people, including retained managers of the former governor, should gear up for more ear-tingling revelations, as this information are being made available by government authorities in the state. Now, the big issue here is why Fashola cannot be allowed to become a minister. Let's look at it this way. The outcome of the election into principal offices in the National Assembly is a simple implication or indication that if APC remains a political party with the current spread it has, the overwhelming influence of its national leader, Bola Tinubu, can be challenged and subdued. That's simple. In the House of Representatives, APC's position when broken down was Tinubu's personal commitment to ensure his political son, Femi Gbajabiamila, was properly and adequately accommodated. He lost out in the contest for the Speaker and settled for Majority Leader due to Speaker Dogara's disposition to amicable settlement of the crisis. But in the Senate, now whether Bukola Saraki completes the 4-year term or not, Tinubu has learnt that a master can be beaten on his own turf. Now, the connection of all of these is that Fashola becoming a minister increases the number of those who will not refer to the former governor of Lagos State and the leader of the opposition for many years before the 2015 elections around the president. The president will now have to listen to many quote-unquote anti-Tinubu people. Fashola will not only not consult or seek directive from Tinubu if he becomes a minister, but he will have a platform to build a parallel power block within the APC in Lagos and by extension the Southwest. Therefore, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu will stop at nothing in preserving and sustaining his winning political influence at the national level, but beginning from Lagos State. EFCC. EFCC should not ignore the call to look into the books of Lagos State government, as failure to do so will clearly fault and undermine the anti-corruption stance of Mr. President. But while doing so, it will be far-reaching, much more far-reaching, to peep into the activities of the state government during the 8 years that preceded Fashola's regime. With that, we can just say the war against corruption has just begun.